remain fit like that, have knee problems. So what about us old ones? So not to worry. Okay, so you go into posture. With as a straight back as possible. And if you are sitting on a chair, if at all possible, try not to lean against the back of the chair so that the energy in your upper body can flow freely. Yeah, also like Tamara is doing, it's very good. If you're not able to put your knees on the ground, try to support them with something so that you don't get tired in the muscles of your thighs, because otherwise you cramp up. So it's a very good way to still be able to sit on the floor, even if your knees are not going all the way down. Put something underneath them to support them. It's very good. Yeah, the meditation is not going to be so long for next time. You find something and you also kind of support it. You'll feel it will help. But sitting high is very good. Like if you're prone sitting on the floor, make yourself sit higher and then support the knees. So we do everything we can in order to feel comfortable, but as I said, with as straight back as possible, because the mind becomes more stable and more clear. It's really helpful. It gives some space also in the chest. Okay, so like with every meditation, first you put awareness on your body. You really go into the body. You welcome everything that is there. Peace, space, tension, restlessness, pain, comfort, whatever. With a very friendly curiosity, we kind of explore and experience these body sensations. And with each out-breath, you can think that you become very spacious, very open. When we say actually we're letting go of tensions and fears, actually we let them be. We give them space, and then they become much smaller. When you go let go, it's always a go away kind of thing, which is not so helpful. Because also then you don't understand. If we chase everything away that is unpleasant, how are we ever going to understand the nature of our existence as impermanent and conditioned? So then again, in this meditation, it's very important that you're not pushing or you're not starting to feel guilty or whatever. We're just observing kind of the sensations that we have or that we feel in our body when we think of certain people, and then we start to explore them or analyze them, whether they're really truly existing, like the sensations and the bad or the good people, or whether that is again something just produced, projected by the mind. So you have to think of somebody, or have to look at the beginning of the meditation for 3 categories of people. One person that you like very much. You will see the moment you find that person, immediately your heart opens and you relax. No need to go through lots of trains of thought. The reaction towards that person is trained, it is learned, and it comes very quickly. And you think about somebody that you don't know so well. You're somebody maybe from the course. You haven't met the person yet, you're not in the same room. Let's say nothing has happened, nothing has happened between the two of you. Like nothing friendly, nothing unfriendly. A neutral person. So again, just very quickly check when you have found that person, what happens in your heart. If you don't find anybody on the course, it can be somebody working in the post office, a bus driver, maybe you know the face, maybe even the name, but you don't have any feelings towards that person. Nothing happens in your heart. So it's a kind of peace, but that peace is too remote. It's absolutely not involved. That's not what we want. That's not equanimity. That is indifference. And then you think about somebody that you dislike. Somebody, as we said, you don't want to be friendly with that person because you're afraid you're getting stuck with them. We're trying to see these very solid black lines that we draw around these people. Like the one we like, we think that we will always like, even though we know that this is definitely not the case in our life. But for the moment, it feels as if that open heart towards that person will come all the time. It will always be there. So here also, don't take a child or your child. Take a friend. Then the person that we find totally uninteresting, also no interest to get to know that person any closer. And the one we dislike or we find a difficult person, there's absolutely no wish. Not even a wish that they can become our friend. It makes us shiver. I think, oh, I don't want them to be a friend. And we can see that with the friend, we see a lot of positive sides. We're happy about these positive sides that the friend has. We rejoice, we're happy for them, that they have so many qualities. Their faults, we are quite tolerant, we might see them, but they're not so important. So again, just to mention, try not to be up in the head. Go to your heart and see these instant reactions that we have, which are, the cause for those reactions are the thoughts, not the person. It's the thoughts we have about them. So as we said, attachment over-exaggerates qualities and underestimates mistakes or faults. I don't mean to say we have to judge people because they have faults, but we don't even see them there with the friend. Or if we see them, at least they're not disturbing us. So that's good. That's a good attitude. So then we can see that nobody wants to have his or her faults, and they bring a lot of suffering. Then again, the reaction towards the so-called stranger. He has qualities. Yeah, he's a good driver. That's good for me that he's a good driver, if it's the bus driver. But do we ever tell him? Thank you very much for driving me to wherever I want to go safely. Or we don't need to say it, but to feel it when we get off the bus. Wow, he's a good driver. Thank you very much. Or do we go off the bus kind of completely mindlessly, just rushing to where we want to go, maybe even being upset because we're 5 minutes late or something. And then the one that we dislike, we underestimate the qualities, we don't want to see them. Sometimes we can't even see them. And the faults we over-exaggerate. And then what happens in your heart? How do you feel when you look at that person? So these feelings come spontaneously, and therefore we believe them to be true instincts, so then it must be right. But that's what we're going to examine now. You think of your friend and think of a situation that your friendly feelings towards that person might change. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe remember past good relationship, and all of a sudden, sometimes gradually, sometimes with one event, your heart, zack, closed. So why do you have friendly feelings towards that person at the moment? Because they're kind to you, because they have the same opinions, maybe go to the same gym, go to the same Buddhist group, you can share ideas, practices, or if it's yoga, you can practice together, or meditation. So usually we have these friendly feelings because they do something for us which we label, this is good for me. Now that's fine, there's no problem there yet. The problem there is, as it was also mentioned, what came out of the discussion group, then we expect them to be kind to us all the time. Now try to see this expectation that we have towards this person that we feel friendly towards. And here you just have to be ruthlessly honest. You are expecting that that person will never hurt you, will never turn against you. You are expecting that if you need help, they will be there to help, or at least to listen to you and to fulfill your wishes. So that is the danger. This is what attachment is kind of painting. One thing is that the happy feeling comes from seeing the person. No, the happy feeling comes from because you label this person as a friend. And that happy feeling, the bigger your expectations, how that friend should behave towards you, will be destroyed very, very quickly when one of these occasions occurs. They stop being interested in you. They constantly, all of a sudden, have different opinions. Or let's say they took your partner. That's probably the biggest to destroy a friendship. Not necessarily. Or they start to compete in your job. They take your ideas, present them as theirs, something like this. It all happens. And then we feel betrayed, let down, taken advantage of, and we feel stupid. Why do we feel stupid? Because of all these expectations that friends don't do that, as if we are such good friends that we never do this to our friends. Do you always fulfill the expectations of your friends? Of course not. So again, the hurt comes from being overly attached to them and having expectations that they will fulfill your needs. So there's no inherently existing solid friend out there. At one point, this person was a total stranger. You might have sat next to that person, I don't know how many times on the bus already, but not recognized her or him, because there was no connection. At one point you might have passed this person that now you call friend, and you had exactly the same feelings that you have now for the stranger, meaning nothing. Okay, so then we look at that stranger, that really remote feeling of not interested. So here we just look at the sensation. Is it pleasant? And we try to make it a little bit more, more warm, more human. Again, if it's the bus driver, hey, he's driving me every day, from here to there, or sometimes when I want to go. Thanks to him, I don't need to find a parking. Maybe thanks to him, I don't need a car. He has probably a family. He has probably worries the same as I have. So we try to kind of wake up a little bit of concern and care for that person. As I said, it's a training. Through thoughts, we can bring up a more warmer, a more softer feeling. And you can use the thought of loving kindness. You think the person sitting in front of you, and you just say, may you be well, may you be happy. May you be safe, and check if something changes in the sensations in your chest, if your heart opens. Again, there's no inherently real existing stranger out there. He's a human, just like everybody else. Wants to be happy, doesn't want to suffer, doesn't want to be harmed, only wants to be helped. Just like me. And now it's more difficult, and here what we're trying to look at is our resistance to open up. With the stranger it's quite easy to open up. Now we take the one who has caused us pain. Maybe an ex-friend who let us down, who disappointed us. We blame it on them, we don't blame it on our expectations. We don't own these people. We think we do. Or maybe somebody from the beginning who disliked the person, that's also okay. So check again, check your sensations in the chest, in your heart, towards that feeling, towards that person. How does it feel? And then try to imagine a situation where your attitude towards that person could change. The person helping you. You're about to fall out of the bus, the person is catching you. Or you need a certain information, the person has it and gives it to you. Look what the I, now look at the self-cherishing, what it is doing. It does not want to accept that help. Because then we would have to admit that the person is not as bad as I make him or her. We don't want to have them success. We refuse to see their kind side. But if we're wise, and maybe we see that sometimes there's situations where I feel that I'm getting on other people's nerves. And I just move out of their way. Not because I'm afraid of them, but I see that my presence is making them upset. Out of kindness. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes the whole tension falls apart. Usually the people we dislike, they're kind of grumpy, not nice people, not considerate, very selfish people. So now, as Ben Sui said, can you see that suffering? And then again, look at your own suffering of having that closed heart. That fear of meeting the person, the fear of being stuck with that person. That person has the power to spoil your life if you're stuck with them. But the power doesn't come from the person. That power comes from your mind, who is filled with aversion and exaggerates the negative sides of that person. So now to end the meditation, just very gently, don't push, no point. Don't feel bad about not liking the person. Don't feel guilty about not liking the person. That's what we do when we don't analyze. But that's where most of the problems in this world come from. I like, I dislike, I don't care. So very gently, try to think, by looking at this person who has caused you pain, oh well, you also, may you be happy, may you be well. Now, so that it doesn't get too dangerous, you can think it doesn't have to be me who makes you happy. But it would be wonderful if you could be happy, so that you can let go of your grumpiness, your selfishness. Your aggressive mind. If you feel your heart kind of cracking up a bit, next step, very courageous. You look at the person and you start to think, how could I give you some relief and some support? How could I make you happy? Again, if you feel that this is perverse and ridiculous, don't do it. Use it as an experiment. Try it out. If there is resistance, don't push. That's okay. Sometimes the heart opens up a little bit, and then something quite drastic can change. But you can't force it, you can't will it. If you allow the thought, what could I do myself to make you a happier person? You don't need to do anything, just a wish, just a concern, just a care. Because then you have moved out of your averse mind into your good heart. And don't underestimate the difficulty of doing that. So that's why, don't push. Be gentle with yourself. Okay, so then to kind of end the meditation, we do very quickly, we turn the whole thing around. Meaning, you take somebody that really likes you, somebody that doesn't give a damn about you, who really doesn't care whether you're happy or unhappy, somebody that finds you totally uninteresting, somebody that you know, like, when they don't listen to us, when they kind of avoid us, these kind of people, and somebody that you can feel they totally dislike you. Doesn't mean totally, but they dislike you. Can you find 3 people like that? Somebody that likes you, there's good communication, there's flowing, there's joy in your relationship. Somebody that is not interested in you, and somebody who dislikes you. And you put them in the space in front of you and you imagine they're looking at you. What do they see? Do they see one person or do they see 3 different people? Does that really nice one that is, worthy to be loved and to be spent time with, does that one really exist? It's nice to think like that. Yeah, I'm a nice person, that's why she likes me. But are you really that nice? The person who is not interested in you, do you think that this totally not interesting person that this person sees in you exists? Is real? And the person who dislikes you, do you think that this horrible person that this person sees does exist? Really? From its own side, not changing? So they see 3 different people, although you're only one. So which one of those 3 are you? And you will find that you are neither one. Because there is no inherently good existing person that you are, no inherently existing boring person that you are, and no inherently existing horrible person that you are. So when we think like this, we understand those people are